Hello and welcome to What's New at Heroes World. I'm Andre Greenidge, and if you're new to the show and you're wondering what we're all about, well, we are Heroes World Comic Shop of the New Millennium, and we are celebrating 20 years this year. That's why you see a lot of our branding with 20 years. So 20 years in serving our local geek community, and in continuing to serve them, we are bringing you a little taste of a lot of the new product that we get in on a weekly basis. So we get new shipments almost every day of the week from Tuesdays right up till Thursdays. So I decided that Tuesday night would be a very, very good time to kind of update you with some of the cool stuff that we're getting in. Now, keep in mind, this is not a definitive list. We are getting even more stuff. And it's just too much for me to always bring home. So I'm doing these videos, bringing you a nice sample of all the stuff. Now, remember, I say comic shop, but we're almost a hobby shop. We've got games, we've got card games, we've got board games, miniature games, comics, graphic novels, models, action figures, toys, collectibles, statues. Wow, you name it, we've almost got it. So, this is going to be your little trip on what we got in for this week. So, first up, I want to say thank you for tuning in and watching me. And I also want to tell you that if you have any questions about any of the merchandise that you see here, post up in the comments and I'll try my best to get to them and answer them. So, without further ado, let's start with my favorite subject, and that is comic books. And we're going to bring up a selection of the new comic books that are out this week, starting with Batman and Catwoman #6. This is the long awaited issue. And wow, it's a stellar team of Tom King and art by Clayman. Great, great story. We've got some time jumping going on in this series. We see a past, a present, and a future in which Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle actually have a daughter. Lots of Joker within this series. I got to tell you, it's a little bit trippy at times. But if you have been following it, there's been a couple of delays in this series. You definitely don't want to miss this issue. Next up, we have got one of my friends doing an amazing, amazing book. That's Jed MacKay on the Black Cat. And we know the Black Cat as the femme fatale from the Spider-Man series and Spider-Man realm. I had the pleasure of meeting Jed MacKay last year, and he's got 2 books out this week, and he's writing several comic books. Look at this beautiful cover. I think this is based on the Marvel video game, The Duel. So, a really popular book, great story featuring Felicia Hardy. Next up, we continue the comic countdown with, drum roll, please. That's some more Black Cat there. So the next issue we have is the Guardians of the Galaxy. And this series has been fantastic. Al Ewing doing the writing. You notice Dr. Doom's on the team. Cosmic hijinks. I love it because my boy Brett Booth is doing the covers. So it's a great, cool series. And look at that cute cover with Groot from the Duel comic book. So this is, I think, the 3rd volume of, no, it's got to be more, 3rd or 4th volume of Guardians of the Galaxy, but still very cool jumping on point if you want to check it. Look at Rocket and crew. Very, very cool. The visuals on the book are stunning, and it continues to be one of our better selling books. So if you're in for hijinks in space, the Guardians of the Galaxy are definitely for you. All right, next up, we are bringing you another Marvel comic, and this one is, I think, Iron Man. Yes, this is Iron Man. Again, I'm loving these covers. This is, again, I think it's an app game called the Marvel Duel, but look at this. Tony Stark's Iron Man suit just looks fantastic. I'm instantly getting vibes from the video game. Almost looks like something right out of that Avengers game. But again, I'm talking games. Let's talk about this comic. This comic book series has been pretty cool so far. This is the 11th issue, and if you've been following it, it is Iron Man, and he's always teaming up with Hellcat. So not the average pair, but Kafu's doing an amazing job on the art. And it's been a really different look to Tony Stark. He's basically a consultant. He's given up his riches. And yeah, so crazy cool book. If you like Iron Man, I highly recommend you check that out. So let's keep rolling on with the comic books and let's see what we've got next up. It is, drum roll if I may, I think it is Kang the Conqueror with my boy Mike Del Mundo killing it on the covers. Listen, we all just watched the Loki series, or we should have watched it by now, but this is telling us not the origin of Kang, but it's going to basically tell us a little bit about this character who has had many different iterations and has a very kind of convoluted history. So this book is beautiful inside, and of course Mike is going to be doing all the covers, so we're super excited about that. So if you want to learn more about Kang, the guy who's probably going to be behind the new phase of the MCU, you definitely don't want to miss this series from Marvel Comics. All right, and I mentioned my friend Jed McKay, and I told you earlier that he had two comics out this week, and the next one is Moon Knight #2. And if you remember, probably about a month ago, I talked about how good this first issue of Moon Knight was. And I got to tell you, the second issue is probably just as good, but boy, does it get mind trippy in there. Again, fantastic covers. The next cover up is probably my favorite. Again, video game inspired. I really love this Armored Moon Knight. But let's talk a little bit about the story on the inside. Moon Knight is trying to protect this neighborhood, and there's somebody that's just messing with the citizens in there. Some of them are elderly, but boy, how Moon Knight kind of defeats this guy, you don't want to miss it. It is mind trippy, very, very cool. And I think that's what they're going for, more of this psychological book so far. So really digging this book, and I can't wait to see where they go from there. All right, so next up, one of my favorite books. If you've been tuning into these little video chats and been seeing what we're talking about on our Facebook page, so if you all know that I've been a super big fan of Tom Taylor's Nightwing. I want to say relaunch, but it's not a relaunch. It's a continuation. And he's taken Nightwing in this super, super cool direction, and it continues. This is his 6th issue in, and the story is just fantastic. Okay, not only is the interior art good and the cover art's good, but the story is phenomenal. So I want to take a little bit of extra time to kind of lay down some of the ground work that's got, not groundwork, but I want to tell you a little bit about the book just in case you don't know. So Alfred passed away, and you know, Alfred was the butler and caretaker of Bruce Wayne, and raised a lot of the Robins and Dick Grayson and stuff like that. And he left considerable wealth to Dick Grayson, and Dick Grayson is the protector of Bloodhaven. Bloodhaven is kind of like a city that's close to Gotham. So Dick is trying to figure out what he can do to honor the legacy of Alfred. And in this issue, that comes to a amazing kind of, Dick has this great idea, and I don't want to spoil what that idea is, but what I love about Tom Taylor's writing is that he injects such good character moments. And in this one, Dick wants to know if he's doing the right thing. So he talks to his friends, he talks to the Titans, he talks to Barbara, he talks to Lucius Fox, he talks to Leslie Tompkins, people that have been kind of altruistic and can give him guidance. You know, like, he's not going to go and do this all on his own. But my favorite moment, and this is just a little bit of spoiler if you guys will so indulge me, that my favorite moment is he talks to Superman. And if you don't know the history, Superman is actually the person who gave Dick Grayson the name for Nightwing, because it's based on a Kryptonian hero and myth. But when he talks to Superman, it's so good. He's like, "Well, why are you coming to me instead of Batman?" And Dick says what everybody should know if they know Superman. He's like, "Well, you're the most human of us, Clark." And he's like, "I want to know if what I am thinking fits with you." And I'm like, boom, pow. Amazing moment. Just great writing, great character. And if you know Tom Taylor, you know he's also writing Superman, Son of Kal-El. And there's a nice connective tissue dropped in this where Superman says, "Hey, I would love for you to meet my son." and maybe be a friend to him and be a mentor to him. And I'm like, wow, I'm on board. These books are fantastic. We have them in stock at the store. So if you're a comic fan, I highly recommend Nightwing and Superman Son of Kal-El. They are stellar. And of course, you've got intrigue because there's still all that crime. Blockbuster is running Bloodhaven. And maybe Dick Grayson has a half sister that he's got to figure out what her motives are. So, fantastic read. Highly, highly, highly recommend Nightwing. So, do yourself a favor and check it out. Okay. Next up, we're rolling along, and this is another one of my favorite writers, Scott Snyder, bringing us Noctera. This is from Image Comics, and this is a world where the sun has gone out, and there's these shadow creatures basically roaming and absorbing light. Crazy cool book, lots of fantastic art by Tony Daniel, and a very cool premise, lots of amazing covers and stuff. Can't say enough about this book. I really dig it. This is the end of the first story arc. So if you have missed all of those issues, just note that there will be a trade paperback coming soon. Definitely want to put this on your radar because it is super cool. All right, now we are going into a new kind of event book that is going to tide us over until we get to the fall X-Men event, and this is the trial of Magneto. That's right. The Master of Magnetism is going to be put on trial for allegedly the murder of the Scarlet Witch. So if you followed the Hellfire Gala, you know that the Scarlet Witch was apparently murdered. And in this book, we have this kind of CSI investigation going between X-Force, the X-Men, as well as X-Factor, as they try and piece together who's responsible for the murder of the Scarlet Witch. Now, anybody who knows comic books and knows Marvel should know that there is no freaking way that Scarlet Witch would be murdered right before all this Doctor Strange stuff and whatever. But we don't know truly what her power set is. So maybe she is just gone, and we are going to find out more in this series. But a very, very good start. Highly, highly recommend this book. It might seem a little bit confusing if you haven't read the other stuff. So make sure, if you haven't, to put that on your list. The things to read, the Hellfire Gala will be out in trade paperback and hardcover in September. Trial of Magneto, definitely a good one. All right. And last but certainly not least, in our comic realm, as you know or may not know, we talk and we sell a lot of Games Workshop merchandise. And this new comic is the second comic by Marvel set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And this comic is Warhammer 40K, The Sisters of Battle. So this is our first time getting a look at the Sisters of Battle who fight for the army of man and the Emperor himself. And great art in this series. And I expect really good things. The first series was all about the Space Marines, and in particular Marnius Calgar, and that was a very, very good comic book. So it brings people kind of up to speed on a little bit of the deep, deep and rich history of Warhammer 40K. Now, it's not going to fill you with all the stuff that's in their lore and in their novels, but you're going to see things visually and a little bit of that taste of that story and depth. And these are all new stories. These are not adaptations. So, folks, there you have a little taste of the single issues, all right, that we have got in. But this week, we also brought in a lot of restocks for the Y the Last Man series. So hopefully you've had a chance to see that trailer coming from FX. So we have brought in Y the Last Man, the absolute editions. There are 3 volumes of this. And if you don't know, I'm going to give you a little bit of summary about Y the Last Man. We follow Yorick and his pet monkey, the only 2 beings to survive a cataclysmic event on Earth which decimate and kills everything with a Y chromosome. Great series by Brian K. Vaughan with art by Pia Guerrera. 60 issues, 3 absolute editions, one ginormous omnibus, which I call a Killaman edition. This thing's 60 issues and it's fat. Like that's the original cover. That's the omnibus there. It is heavy, it is dense, but it is a fantastic read. And I highly recommend you devour this series before the television show comes out on FX. Coming in September, we will be doing a Heroes World book club about it. So if you want to join in, make sure you get your copies from us or wherever you purchase fine reads. Now, speaking of fine reads, we have also brought in a restock of some of the best Superman graphic novels. And I want to just showcase a few of those. So I'm going to pop up an image on the screen here. So this one here is Superman American Alien trade paperback. This is written by Max Landis, and it's a kind of an alternate look at Superman, but it's a very cool look. A young Clark Kent going around the globe and learning and stuff. Very cool book. Highly recommend it. This is also one of John's favorite Superman stories. So if you want to check that out, we have this one in stock now. Next up, we have got next up, we've got Batman, Superman, Who Are the Secret Six? And this is, not introducing, but this is during the time of the Dark Knight's death metal series with the Batman Who Laughs. And this is Batman and Superman trying to take him down as he has converted six heroes to his evil ways. And Superman and Batman have to stop them without hurting them. Great book. The art by David Marquez is just absolutely stunning. And as always, in a book entitled Batman and Superman, you're going to get a lot of cameos from the other members of the Justice League. This is a truly fun book. Highly recommend it. If you dig either of these two characters, you definitely need to check out Batman and Superman. All right, we've got another Superman book to talk to you about, and this is the epic, which is The Death of Superman. Now, we brought in both books. We brought in The Death of Superman as well as Superman Doomsday. You're going to want both of these because it's in Doomsday where we see Superman fighting to the end to protect Earth and Metropolis from the unstoppable Doomsday. Great series when it originally came out, and it still holds up. We see Superman basically give it everything to stop Doomsday. And I remember when this came out, what a big deal it was. And it is still a great series, worthy of being on our shelves and definitely worthy for you to pick up and read if you have not read it yet. So let's continue talking about good Superman reads with the next book. It is Superman Red Sun. So this is a DC Elseworld where Superman, instead of dropping into Kansas as a baby, lands in the motherland and he becomes the citizen numero uno, and he is basically changed the whole world by if he was a communist. A great book. It is probably, in my humble opinion, Mark Miller's finest work that I like. Okay. And it is, we see how the whole DC universe would be changed by this event, and it's got a really trippy ending. Great series. It also has an animation out there as well, but I think the book is definitely better. So Superman Red Sun, you don't have to dive deep. It's only the one trade paperback. There's nothing followed up, so it's an alternate look at Superman. So if you dig those, you will definitely love that, and that's available at the store as we are speaking right now. All right, so next up from Superman, we have got, this one is, I think, Superman, All-Star Superman. So let's take a peek and see which one that is. Oh, my image is not changing over, but I think it is All-Star Superman, and that's the one from Grant Morrison, and that is an amazing read. They did an animation on that, and it's fantastic. One of the best Superman reads. Frank Quietly does the art, and it's kind of this like old school Superman adventure that tells you everything about Superman. Next up is one of my favorite Superman stories. I actually really dig this one because it's my boy Scott Snyder with Jim Lee art. This is Superman Unchained, and this features the Superman of the New 52. Very cool, lots of action. We've got a couple different art styles as Dustin Nguyen doing some of the nice watercolor work in it. Great story there for Superman. And I think that brings us to the end of our Superman stuff. But wow, there is even more stuff. And we talked a lot about our hobby store aspect. And that means we are into painted miniatures. We are into Dungeons and Dragons. So here are a couple of paint sets that we have restocked so you can get in touch with your hobby side. So this first up is the Adventurers paint set, and this is the one you should start with if you have never painted a miniature. In this set, you're getting 10 paints, you're getting a paintbrush and a miniature of Minx and Boo from Baldur's Gate. And this is your starter set brought to you by Gale Force 9 and the Army Painter. Now, not only do they do this hero adventure set, they also have a set that is monsters, as well as a set that is the Underdark, which gives you a Dritz model to paint. Each of these paint sets have different colors. So when you buy each set, you are not actually doubling up on any colors, and there's more than enough paint to paint the one miniature because they figure you have other miniatures to paint. Now, that first paint set that I showed you, that's the only one that comes with a paintbrush. So keep in mind, if you buy this paint set or the next paint set, which is about the undead and the monsters, you will still need to get a paintbrush. Now, speaking of paintbrush, you are going to need a big paintbrush for this next item that we got in. It is the brand new white dragon, adult white dragon miniature. Now, I say miniature, but it's not really a miniature. I'm going to switch our little profile here, and then I'm going to spin around. You can see behind me, this is the box for that miniature. So it is a gargantuan adult white dragon. So let's take another look at that bad boy. So it's pre-primed and ready to paint. This thing is fantastic. It is called a white dragon, but you could probably paint it whatever colors that you want. It just looks amazing. I really dig this dragon, and all of the dragons. WizKids does a phenomenal job on these miniatures. I can't say enough about them. They are really cool. Great for the novice painter who wants to just learn some techniques large enough, but also if you're a veteran painter, you're going to get right in there. So many details and stuff that you can really pick out and do a fantastic job. Keep in mind all the stuff you also need, from paint brushes to paints, green stuff, tools, accessories. We've got it all at Heroes World. Now, talking about tools and accessories and miniature games, where would we be without talking about Warhammer White Dwarf magazine? Oh, sorry, my bad. I jumped ahead. We got some brand new dice for DandD from the company called DandD. Wow. And these are some crazy cool dice. We've got hallowed dice, we've got metal dice, color shift dice. That's right, dice that change color when they get warmed up. And we've brought in a whole bunch of D20s in their own case, so you could use those for life counters, for magic, or just rolling a really cool D20 for your game. So if you're playing any role-playing game that needs magical cool dice sets, we have got a whole bunch in there. So there's this set, and I think there is, well, this is just a couple. We've got way more in store. So you'll be seeing those probably on our website very soon because they just came out. But I'm partial to the metal dice myself. I find they roll better, and I'm less likely to throw them out if I roll poorly in my role-playing games. So that's some new dice to go with your D&D miniatures that we always have stocked up. And now I can say, last but not least, speaking of Warhammer It is the White Dwarf magazine, and the newest issue has just arrived. And Warhammer's been killing it lately. There is lots of great stuff coming out, and this magazine, The White Dwarf, chronicles it all. So if you want painting tips, if you want to know up-to-date strategies for Blood Bowl, for Age of Sigmar, for 40K, and of course, they've got the new Kill Team coming out. So this magazine is your one-stop shop for everything Warhammer, Warhammer 40K, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, all of their games. It's a great magazine. And so if you are a collector, you can peruse it. Or if you ever just want to know what the games are all about, definitely just pick up an issue, and it'll kind of give you an overview into the whole realm of Warhammer. So folks, there you have it. This is a little taste of all the stuff that we got in. Not all, I kind of stumbled on that one. Not all, just a selection of the stuff we've got. You can see behind me the Why the Last Man Absolutes, like I said, 3 volumes, and the omnibus. So hopefully you check that out. And while you're checking that out, please don't forget to check out all the stuff that we are doing online with our Heroes World Online. That is us. That's going to take you to our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitch. That's also going to line you up with all the content that we're bringing you, from the Heroes World podcast on Sunday, the Sidekick Show on Monday, What's New at Heroes World on Tuesday. Wednesday is the Heroes Word. Thursday is Hey What I Missed. And Friday is the Heroes World Book Club. So there's so much content, and I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. So if you're one of the people that joins us and enjoys our content but haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. It really helps see where people are coming from, and maybe you hit that little bell so you know when we have new stuff dropping, and hopefully you comment and tell us how much you've been enjoying it, or maybe give us some ideas for what you'd like to see on the channel. So I'm Andre from Heroes World. I'm signing off, and I want to wish you all a very good evening, and I hope that your summer is continuing to be excellent. Thank you, and have a great night.